Well, as I said, we're still looking at developments on the international oil market and its implications for the Nigerian economy, with particular attention to the discovery of shale oil, or the shale oil production in the United States, of course in the UK, Australia, New Zealand and some other countries. And I've been speaking with a senior research fellow and economist with the Lagos Business School, Dr. Bongo Adi, who is still here in the studio with me. Thank you so much, Doctor, for sticking with us.
Thanks a lot.
Well, just before we went on that short break, we were looking at the possibilities of shale oil becoming a revolution in the energy market, so to speak. But do you think, or do you know how soon the shale threat is going to be to oil price? Let's say, how soon do you think shale threat to oil price would crystallize? I guess that's what I meant to say.
Oh, okay. Well, it depends on how soon the global market is going to see a whole lot of injection of shale oil and gas in the market. But right now, well, there are some prospects. But let us look at some of the determinants of the supply of shale oil. That's what we call EIOEI, energy investment invested on energy. Energy returned on energy invested. That's a kind of a measure of ROI, return on investment, in the oil and gas sector. So, in order to produce, say, 3,000 tons of shale oil, you need to crush, you need to heat up, you have to dissolve 6.6 million tons of sedimentary shale rock. Okay? So that's, if you break that down, it gives you a return on investment in the energy term of maybe 101, 0.7, or even less, very small. So it's margin. Like I said earlier, exploration is cheap, not very expensive, because you are looking at deposits on the ground or under the surface that can easily be got. But the process of heating it up, of converting it into oil, is a process known as retort, which is simply to burn it in controlled environment without oxygen, to break down the molecular component to get the oil, the gas, and the waste residue. Okay? Right now, that is very, very expensive. Okay? It takes a whole lot of water. So in some areas in the UK where the license has been given to start or to set up the plants, the local communities have been revolting, citing issues pertaining to water and so on. And we know that water is already a problem. So are we going to have another emerging global environmental problem? That is a very big issue that we haven't quite looked at. I can understand the U.S. euphoria over the discovery of shale oil, because for long they've been worried about the overdependence on oil from the Middle East. So anything that could break that dependence, of course, would be very much welcome in the United States.
So what's the time frame that we're looking at to expect shale oil to...
According to the statistics, or according to the ambition of the United States, by 2017, we're going to see a whole new global strategic alliance shaped by shale oil.
Now, with all these facts on hand, what tangible alternatives are there for Nigeria in the face of supposedly or shrinking international oil market?
Well, I wouldn't say that the oil market is shrinking.
It's becoming more competitive.
Well, yes, it's becoming more competitive with so many countries around us discovering oil. But at the same time, let's look at what is happening in the global market, in the global economies. China, for instance, India, emerging economies. You see what is happening in China. China can guzzle up all the oil from Nigeria, Kenya, all over, put together.
But it's also looking into taking up this shale oil production as well.
Of course, but then we are still talking about the natural resource base. We are talking about exhaustible natural resource, not replenishable. Okay, not regenerational. Okay, so these are resources that you exhaust in consumption. So as far as it's exhaustible resource, I think we need to worry about the sustainability of any claim that we are making right now.
So shale oil is not just a threat to Nigeria, is it?
I don't think it is, because we also we can discover, although we haven't started looking into that, because we still have a lot of, and another thing to consider is, the cost implications. Should we begin to extract shale oil that is more expensive when it is cheaper for us to simply drill our oil? Again, these are the issues, because the oil market is about prices.
Yes.
So if it is cheaper to produce shale oil, everybody will be looking for shale oil. So but if it is cheaper to produce oil, the conventional oil, then I think that's where right now it weighs in favor of the conventional oil.
So what proactive steps do you think OPEC should be taking at this particular point in time?
OPEC countries, especially, okay, let me just take Nigeria as an example. I think, yes, though I do not think shale oil is a big threat to Nigeria's economy, but I think it's high time the country started looking into diversification, paying serious attention to diversifying the economic base. For long, that's been on the agenda, but nobody has taken it up seriously. Last time I was here, I discussed the National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan. I think the government needs to do something ambitious, with the industrial sector as well. Okay, the government needs to roll out a scheme of industrialization of this country so that we can win ourselves free from dependence on oil. I think that is it. But I think that has been happening, because right now oil contributes about 14% of our GDP. But that's actually significant, because if you look at the budget, the annual budget is based on about $30 billion.
So is this going to be any threat to the current budget benchmark for oil price?
Right now, oil price is still above $100, and the benchmark is $79, so we are still good.
Okay, in all of this, there's been talks among people that probably it's high time for OPEC to close shop, and the 12 countries or the countries that actually make up the cartel be disbanded and face more more challenging prospects, because there are challenging times ahead, and so maybe they don't really need OPEC to be like a watchdog over all of them. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, but I don't think OPEC is a watchdog, to use it in that sense. But I think OPEC is like a cartel, a power block. Okay, so we have to look at the context leading to the establishment of OPEC in order to understand what OPEC does and the need that it serves people, the member countries. Okay, OPEC is a power block, set up to contest, to act as a balancing force against OECD and those other countries that dictate the oil price. Okay, we have to look at the International Division of Labor here, whereby we are, exporters of raw materials, but we are net importers of manufactured products. Okay, so that's the issue. The manufacturers who want the oil price to be as low as possible. We, on our own side, want the oil price to be as high as possible. That is, profit maximization motif. Okay, they want to minimize costs. We want to maximize our profit. Okay, so that is the context here. So OPEC offers countries in the developing world that have oil that unifying framework to engage with the rest of the world. We are talking about powerful countries that have all the resources.
So they really should be, looking at ways they can help encourage the
countries.
Exactly.
Instead of dissolving OPEC at this stage, I think the new countries, the nascent oil economies we find in Africa, like Kenya and the rest of them, should actually, and Ghana should, instead of pulling on their own, should team up with OPEC.
Now, you just mentioned Ghana and Kenya.
Yes.
Discovery of oil in these countries, should it make us worried?
Like I said, there's huge demand for oil. There is huge demand, untapped demand for oil.
And so you feel the field is very open for everybody to come playing.
And with the way the world economy is growing, Nigeria is also growing. Okay, I'm sure that we will get somewhere, sometime in future, when we will not be capable of meeting our own need for oil. So unless something happens and the technology of manufacturing, of production changes, I don't see oil going out of existence anytime soon.
Should we be trying our hands at probably trying to discover our own shale oil of some sort?
Of course, I've said that. But again, it's about cost. If it is cheaper to do that, then by all means, the government should go all out. But right now, the economics doesn't favor it. It's not very viable right now.
So going forward,
I think what the US and Britain and those other countries are more concerned with in the development of shale oil is, purely strategic interest. Okay, they want to have enough oil. It doesn't matter. They have the money; they can invest in that. But if they have to compete in the international market against crude produced conventionally, nobody's going to buy from them.
So what's it going to be like now going forward for us?
Going forward, I mean, there is no question that we need to diversify the economy. While I agree that there is no much threat now, but unfortunately, I mean, anything can change, but we don't have to wait for that change to happen before the government decides to pursue aggressively a system of industrialization of this country. That is very important.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Bongo Adi, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on the program. It's been my pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, I've been speaking with an economist and a senior research fellow of the Lagos Business School, Dr. Bongo Adi, and we've been looking at development on the international oil market and its implications for the Nigerian economy, and we've paid particular attention to shale oil discovery in the United States and the production, of course, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, and New Zealand, Australia, and some other countries who are beginning to pay, especially in Asia. China and India are also beginning to, pay attention to what the shale oil discovery and its potentials for their market. Well, Business Morning will continue